Yeah, I mean, like he's an old school guy, you know, and him and Coach Meyer, I know have a really good relationship. They were GAs together, and so, I mean, yeah, like the way he does things is a little bit different. He's not the modern position coach like some of your Zach Smiths or something, but he knows his football. He's been around, and it's nice for us because he's experienced a lot. College, high school, everything. So we can kind of build off his experience, and I think that's something that some other position coaches don't have. They don't have a ton of experience that Coach Hinton does, and it's nice because we can learn from it, and it can help us in the future. So
obviously, you guys, the Michigan game is obviously huge for you guys, but Michigan State, I mean, recently it was a tougher game last year. Do you think that in the next few years that the Michigan State game for like guys coming in could be bigger than the Michigan game for certain players?
How many times have I been asked that so far? I mean, like I said, I mean, really what it comes down to is, I mean, what a lot of people don't see is, I mean, those games don't, I mean, obviously the Michigan game is going to mean a lot no matter what. You've seen that in years past where one team's not very good and the other team's really good. It's still a huge game. I think the difference with, the Michigan State game is, like the Michigan game, if one team's really good and one team's not very good, it's still a huge game. But the Michigan State game, I don't think is like that. I think the Michigan State game is a big game when both teams are really good. And if we don't take care of business and they don't take care of business leading up to that game, it's not going to be as big a game as everyone's talking about. There's games before that game that if you don't win those or you lose those, that game's not going to mean as much. And I think that's what people don't understand yet. It's going to be a big game regardless, but what's going to make it the primetime game is if we both handle business and both go into that game undefeated, and both have shown that we're championship caliber teams. That's what's going to make that game big. And I think that's what's a little bit different about the Michigan game, because going to the Michigan game, that's a big game regardless. You could lose every game of the year, and that's still going to be a huge game. So,
speaking of the Michigan State game, stay with this. Is a little bit of a long-winded question. I know you kind of struggled with the 4th-and-1 play and watching it on film and looking at it. And Urban said that it ate at you and it kept eating at you, and he actually had to pull you aside and talk to you about that a little bit, about moving on. When he was doing that, I mean, were you looking at him like, seriously, this is coming from you? This is a guy, who for 20 years of his career held on to everything.
Right.
I mean, what was that conversation like?
I mean, there's more than one, really. But he's like he's got more experience than I think all of us, and he knows how to deal with things. And I think him getting older and him being around more, he handles things differently than I think he did in years past, and he'll be the first one to tell you that. As he's grown as a coach, and he handles things differently. And so yeah, I mean, it's obviously one of those things that one of those plays you'll probably never forget. It's not like you're going to wake up one morning and it's going to be gone. But you can't dwell on it, and you can't let it affect the future. You can't keep messing up or keep doing anything bad because of one bad play. And so I mean, obviously it'll probably be talked about for a little while. But it's one of those things. You just got to move on, and you can't let it hinder you in the future. And yeah, you use it as fuel, you use it as fire, you use it as motivation. But at the end of the day, I mean, you just got to move on from it. So. That's what I've talked to him about, and a lot of the other coaches and stuff, and it's just kind of move on from it. So.
Why don't we hear about Braxton off the field the way we hear about Johnny Manziel?
Because he ain't Johnny Manziel. Like I said, man, Braxton's a great kid. We came in early together out of high school, and he's been the same cast since we got here. Yeah, I mean, he's not Johnny Manziel. He's not Jameis Winston or a lot of these other guys. I mean, it's Braxton. I mean, he come from Springfield, Ohio. Coach or LeBron always, small kid from small town in Ohio. That's kind of Braxton. He's a small town kid, and we actually, you ask around, everyone appreciates how he's been the same since he first got here, and it really says something about his character, and I know Coach Meyer appreciates it, and you look at that. And yeah, so I mean, we all appreciate it, and he's a great kid all around. There's nothing behind the curtains that you guys don't see, or nothing, something super serious that no one knows about. I mean, he's just Braxton. He's goofy, he's serious, he's really everything, and he's been like that since I first met him, and I think everyone else will say the same thing. So,
have you been in on any of the sessions where he's in front of the board, explaining plays?
Yeah, and he's done a great job this offseason, really understanding the game more. And like I said, having an injury like that, and having my foot injury, it's really slowed things down for us a little bit and let us recap, and also spend more time in the film room that I don't think you would have spent if you were healthy. Especially during spring, you saw him out there, had the camera on his head and the microphone talking to Coach Meyer, and really understanding everything. It kind of slows things down for you because at this stage in your career, the physical reps I don't think are as important as a lot of the mental stuff. We've been here for 3 years, and we know you've done the physical part of it. You know how to do. Your technique. This. That. How to do it. I think it's a lot mental when you get old. A lot more mental when you get older, and I think that's kind of what separates people from other people is the mental aspect of the game. And you look at the bright side. The injuries. It really slowed things down and let us understand the game and get mentally prepared for this senior year.
Talk about getting mentally prepared. You got training camp starting. Is it? Man, I can't wait for camp to start, or knowing what a grind it is. Is it like, oh God, it's almost here? What's it? It's your last go-round, I guess, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a little bit of both, obviously. Anyone in here that says that they can't wait for training camp to start and they're super excited is, probably lying to you. Really looking forward to it because, no one likes, I mean, it's a grind, man. It really is, and it's probably just as mentally tough as it is physically tough. And that's what a lot of the young guys, as being a leader and stuff, you got to help those guys through that. And I remember when I was at, that age, going into your training camp, and especially your first training camp, really playing. It's easy to go into a training camp knowing you're not going to do anything, and knowing what you do doesn't really matter. You're not going to get really a whole lot of reps. But a lot of these young guys are going to have to come in, and they're starting. They're going to be taking rep after rep after rep. And so, I mean, yeah, just being a leader, I'm going to help them with that. And, you are excited. It's a step closer to season. But, we don't live for training camp, though. We live for Saturdays and, in the fall. And so I think that's what we're really looking forward to.
What's important those first few days of camp when you're really not hitting yet? It's, shorts and tee. Is it getting those young guys up to speed, or just getting
it's kind of getting back into the, kind of the swing of things. They do a good job, not jumping right into pads. I think that's a good rule, I mean, having, 4 months, 5 months off from pads after spring ball and, not doing anything, jumping right into pads wouldn't be a good idea. So, yeah, just getting back into, football mentality, running around out there, running plays and running through plays and getting your mind back, getting your body back. Being in football shape is, different than working out shape, I mean, you can run all you want and lift all you want, but it takes you a week or two to get back into real football shape where you're out there every play. So I think that's the first few weeks of training camp, that's really important, and then you start kind of buckling it down and looking forward to your first game, getting guys in the positions that they need to be in to succeed, and so you go from there. So
thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Talk about the tight end group. Coach Meyer says between yourself and Vanette, you couldn't have a better collection of tight ends. Just what is it that you guys feel in your third and fourth year in the program you guys really bring to the table now?
We're bringing a lot to the table. We're fortunate to be in a position that Coach Meyer likes to use and likes to really move us around and put us in different situations.
Careful.
Don't you have some questions over there to answer? Ask him something to keep him busy. So I mean, we're fortunate to be in that position, and we're getting moved around and get to do a lot of different things that other tight ends in the country don't get to do. And being the third year under Coach Meyer's system, it's nice to be able to have a lot on your shoulders. A lot of plays revolve around you and your block, your routes, or this and that. And so yeah, I mean, Coach Hinton's a great position coach, and does a great job of getting us game ready, and Coach Meyer does a great job of drawing all this stuff up and telling us what we need to do. So,
Marcus Baugh, did you kind of put him under your wing and try to bring him along this offseason? Just talk about what he's primed to do. He's going to be a redshirt freshman this year. How's he going to kind of fit into the mix?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to fit in. You can only redshirt 1 year. After that, time starts ticking away. And so yeah, I mean, I think the start for him would be contributed on special teams. I think that's where a lot of guys start. That's where I started. Yeah, I mean, obviously he's going to have a big year coming up, and he's going to be a good player when it's all said and done. him and kind of like Nick and I were kind of made a pretty good duo so far. And I think him and if they keep Sam Hubbard at tight end, I think those two will make a pretty good duo down the line. And so yeah, he's had a great offseason, put on some weight, gotten faster. He's super athletic. He can run. And so yeah, it'll be exciting to see what he has in the future.
Do you like doing this stuff, meeting with the media, or is it
You guys aren't that bad. I mean, it's kind of fun. Just talk, chat it up, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool. I mean, you can sit there and complain about it, but there's also a lot of people that would like to be in your position, and that's kind of the way I look at things. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not that bad. Give me a few cups of coffee and let's talk. Let's chat. So, right.
Where does that laid-back personality of yours kind of come from? I mean, is that just growing up with brothers? Is that having a dad from Akron, Ohio? What is that?
Yeah, probably a little bit of everything. My dad was really laid back. I could have played the worst game of my entire life, playing hockey growing up, and he would have said, "You did great." I remember there was one time, he'll tell you too, he was actually the coach and on my roller hockey team. I was like 8 or something. And he was yelling at me for being a puck hog and screaming at me. I remember like dropping my gloves and ran back to the car and was crying, and I'm like, I'm never playing for you again. Ever since that day, it was just kind of like he kind of stayed out of it, and it was like, do your thing, and he was there to support us when we needed to. But, sports is, it's something you do. It's not who you are. I think that's what a lot of people miss is, just got to play football. That's not all of who I am. I got a lot of other stuff going on, and, a lot of other stuff I take pride in, not just football. And I think some people miss out on that. And, yeah, I'm just, a 21-year-old college kid that goes to Ohio State, I'm really sit here and, talk to you guys or whatever. I'm not going to act like I'm, better or anything or I'm macho man or something like, what? I was blessed to, I didn't do anything to become 6'6", I worked hard and then I lifted some weights and stuff, but a lot of this stuff is God-given, and I think a lot of people, miss out on that, a lot of players you see just act like they did it all, they really didn't. You gotta be blessed and have some breaks along your way that you really have no control over that'll get you to where you're at, and I understand that, so I guess that's where part of it comes from too.
You mentioned lifting some weights. Coach Hinton always likes to bring up how you have the highest bench press and vert on the team or something like that. Is lifting always a big part of your regimen, or is that something that kind of kicked you when you got here?
No, it was. High school. I had my high school coach is linebackers coach at App State now. But yeah, lifting was huge in high school. It was almost everything. We used to lift 5-6 days a week in high school, lift 2 times a day, in the morning and night. And that's really where a lot of my strength came from. In high school, we had our workouts in high school with my high school coach. They're just as hard as they are now almost. We used to grind in high school, and I think that's where it came from. And my high school coach really installed a work ethic in me, and one of the things I appreciate is the work ethic he installed in the weight room and how important the weight room is, and it can really help you out. Especially you're not always going to have the best technique. You're not always going to be have your best play, but sometimes that extra strength that you have from the weight room can compensate and help you out so it doesn't turn out terrible. And so yeah, that was installed in me when I first started playing high school, because he was my first football coach ever, and so I kind of learned that from him and learned the work ethic from him. And I think that's where it all started. So.